The North Atlantic surface appears tranquil, a vast, unbroken mirror reflecting the fading sunlight. But beneath these waves lies a realm utterly hostile to human life and memory. We fall through the twilight zone, descending into a pitch-black world devoid of seasons. Almost 4 kilometers down, the abyss hides the ultimate monument to our mechanical hubris. Once the undisputed queen of the ocean, the Titanic now rests in a silent graveyard. Look closely. This is no longer a human ship. It is an alien, weeping reef. The luxurious promenade decks have been stripped away by an unforgiving, lightless world. Where opulence once reigned, only darkness and a slow, relentless decay now hold dominion. We imagine we leave permanent marks on the earth. The ocean disagrees entirely. Here, Earth is the master. It is slowly swallowing history back into the crust. To understand this decay, we must first understand the brutal geologic stage of the abyss. The Abyssal Plain is a sprawling desert of fine sediment, covering half the planet. Temperatures hover just above freezing. The sun has not touched this floor in eons. But the true tyrant here is pressure, 400 times the weight of our atmosphere. Every square inch of this steel is being crushed by nearly 6,000 pounds of force. In this extreme environment, human engineering is reduced to fragile temporary debris. The water above acts as a colossal, inescapable vice. Nothing escapes its silent grip. Deep ocean currents, slow but endlessly persistent, work to bury the wreckage over centuries. This alien landscape is not a static museum. It is an active, aggressive recycling facility. The iron hull is a foreign anomaly here, and Earth does not tolerate anomalies. The seawater itself acts as a slow chemical fire, relentlessly oxidizing the unprotected steel. Yet, where humans see a tragic shipwreck, the deep ocean sees only an unexpected oasis. 50,000 tons of refined iron plummeted into a world starved of basic nutrients. The tragedy of the surface became a sudden, massive feast for the abyss below. But the true architects of Titanic's destruction are invisible to the naked human eye. We are entering the domain of extreme biology, a merciless, microscopic force of nature. This is Halomonas titanicae, a newly discovered species born in absolute darkness. It does not rely on sunlight. It feasts exclusively on the iron of the sunken hull. To this extremophile, the greatest shipwreck in human history is nothing but an all-you-can-eat buffet. They form complex, cooperative colonies, millions of microscopic mouths chewing through solid, hardened steel plates. As they consume the iron, they excrete a brittle, porous byproduct we commonly call rusticles. These structures look like frozen rust icicles, but they are living, breathing, biological condominiums. Inside the rusticles, water flows through complex channels, bringing in nutrients and washing away toxic waste. They are stripping away the Titanic's structural integrity, atom by atom, century after century. The steel that once repelled the freezing Atlantic is now softer than rotting ancient wood. A mere disturbance in the current is enough to shatter a seemingly solid iron bulkhead into dust. The bacteria do not work alone. They are part of a vast, unseen deep-sea microbiome. Fungi, archaea, and deep-water microbes collaborate in a slow, silent orchestration of total mechanical disassembly. The ship's legendary grand staircase is gone, eaten alive by a swarm of invisible scavengers. But humans built to be unsinkable, the Earth has repurposed as a fleeting, decaying food source. Even massive bronze propellers, normally resistant to rust, are yielding to the acidic biological waste. Every single day, Halomonas Titanicae consumes hundreds of pounds of the ship's remaining iron mass. It is a spectacular display of geological determinism. Nature always reclaims what is taken from it. The Titanic is bleeding into the ocean. Plumes of red, iron-rich dust drift on abyssal currents. This iron snow fertilizes the barren seafloor, creating a temporary oasis of deep sea life around it. Squat lobsters and ghostly rat-tail fish patrol the crumbling decks, navigating a labyrinth of fragile rust. They are the temporary tenants of a doomed, sinking cathedral, completely unaware of its impending collapse. Bacteria are relentless. They do not sleep. They do not pause. They only multiply and consume. In a twisted irony, the very life forms destroying the ship are the only things holding it together. The rusticles act like a brittle scab over the rotting metal. Once they fall, the structure yields. We are witnessing the slow-motion digestion of the 20th century's greatest symbol of industrial arrogance. Look at the telemotor on the bridge. Once commanded by a captain, it is now commanded by microbes. The ship's bow, iconic and proud, is becoming heavily warped, bowing under the weight of biological decay. The biology of the deep ocean is patient. It operates on a scale of centuries, not days. To the Earth, this shipwreck is a temporary blink, a momentary influx of metal to be dissolved. The sheer scale of the biocorrosion is staggering, tens of thousands of tons vanishing into the dark. In the freezing blackness, this microscopic army proves that life will exploit absolutely any available energy source. The steel plates of the hull are now paper-thin, riddled with microscopic holes like a metallic sponge. It is a beautifully macabre transformation. The Titanic is no longer a machine. It is an organism, and like all living organisms, it has a lifespan, and the Titanic is in its final days. The ocean's memory is long, and its patience is infinite. It will swallow every last rivet whole. Soon, the biological struggle will end, and gravity will claim the final shattered remnants of the hull. The extreme pressure and microscopic swarms are working in perfect destructive harmony against human memory entirely. We must prepare ourselves for the inevitable climax, the total structural failure of the RMS Titanic. Watch as a massive sheet of rusted plating finally succumbs, cascading silently into the black abyss. The ship groans in the silent depths, a mechanical death rattle echoing across the Abyssal Plain. This is not merely corrosion. This is an active, aggressive biological dismantling of human history. We are privileged to witness the final hours of this deep-sea ecosystem before the great collapse. The stage is set for a catastrophic shift. The ocean is ready to close the final chapter. A violent, silent implosion awaits. The biology has done its job. The geology will finish it. Now push our timeline forward. We leave the present and enter the inevitable deep future. The microscopic feast of Halomonas Titanicae has left the great ship structurally hollow. Millions of tons of hydrostatic pressure push down relentlessly on the weakened, dissolving iron skeleton. The critical threshold is finally breached. A central load-bearing bulkhead shatters into a cloud of rust. The collapse is sudden and catastrophic, the legendary upper decks begin a violent, unstoppable pancaking process. Centuries of accumulated marine snow and rusticles are blasted outward in a blinding, chaotic underwater avalanche. Human artifacts that survived for over a century are instantly buried beneath crushing layers of dead steel. The hull plates peel outward, unable to contain the downward force of the collapsing interior decks. The proud, iconic bow finally breaks its back, driven face first into the unforgiving abyssal mud. In mere moments, the towering profile of the Titanic is violently erased from the ocean floor. As the abyssal dust settles, the tragedy of human engineering is replaced by brutal geological reality. The ship has been compressed into a dense, flat layer of iron-rich sediment and broken debris. Life in the deep immediately adapts. Scavengers arrive to investigate the newly exposed, shattered metallic landscape. We push the timeline even further. Hundreds of years pass in the silent, freezing darkness. The endless, gentle snowfall of marine detritus begins to bury the flattened corpse of the machine. The colonies of iron-eating bacteria finally exhaust their food source, dying off as the metal vanishes. The distinct silhouette of the shipwreck is entirely gone, replaced by a subtle, oxidized bump in the mud. The creatures of the abyss drift over the grave, completely unaware of the human tragedy below. All that remains of the unsinkable ship is a massive, dark red stain of oxidized iron ore. The steel is unmade. The human elements are completely stripped away, returning to their basic atomic state. This iron will drift on deep ocean currents, eventually feeding microscopic phytoplankton at the sunlit surface. We ripped this iron from the Earth's crust with fire, noise, and boundless industrial arrogance. And the ocean reclaims it in absolute silence, cold, and darkness. A perfect, inescapable geological reset. The cataclysm is complete. The abyss has digested our grandest illusion of mastery over nature. The stage is cleared. The crushing depths remain entirely indifferent to the memory of human existence. Even our most advanced acoustic eyes will soon struggle to find any trace of the disaster here. Only the porcelain will remain intact. Small, fragile ghosts scattered across an alien, oxidized desert. Yet, even these final relics will eventually be swallowed by the slow, suffocating drift of geological time. The ocean is a perfect machine of erasure. It does not preserve history. It consumes it. The cataclysm is not an act of malice. It is merely the Earth balancing its elemental ledger. From the perspective of the planet, the sinking of the Titanic was merely a delivery of ore. A minor return of stolen iron back into the vast, churning biogeochemical cycle of the living Earth. The surface world continues its frantic pace, completely blind to the silent, thorough digestion happening below. The very ice that brought the mighty vessel down continues to be born and melt in cycles. Nature remains the undisputed sovereign. Our steel is fleeting, but the ice and the ocean endure forever. We look upon our modern skylines with the same indestructible pride as the Titanic. Thousands of tons of forged steel suspended in the air, defying the pull of gravity. But look closely at the joints. The same invisible biological forces are already at work. The atmosphere itself is a slow, corrosive ocean, constantly washing over our towering monuments. Moisture and microbes quietly conspire to dismantle every beam we raise into the sky. Without constant human intervention, our grandest terrestrial achievements would share the exact fate of the shipwreck. They would weaken, buckle, and inevitably pancake into the earth beneath the crushing weight of time. We harvest the deep bones of the earth to build our temporary armor against nature. We forge it with immense heat, believing we have permanently altered the natural geological order. But the earth always reclaims its property. The iron is merely borrowed on a timeline. Deep in the Atlantic, the ledger is finally balanced. The stolen iron has been returned. The dissolved hull now feeds the phytoplankton, powering the very foundation of the global food web. The tragedy of a sunken machine has been transmuted into the breath of the living ocean. This is the ultimate law of geological determinism. Nothing is wasted. Everything is ruthlessly recycled. Human history is merely a fleeting spark against the massive grinding wheel of deep time. We continue to sail our fragile metal islands across an abyss that patiently waits below. We chart the surface, completely ignoring the hungry, dark void stretching thousands of meters beneath. The abyss requires no monuments. It holds no reverence for human tragedy or industrial triumph. It only knows pressure, darkness, and the endless, slow consumption of whatever falls from above. The Titanic was not defeated by an iceberg. It was reclaimed by a hungry, living planet. As the lights fade, the ocean resumes its eternal, silent vigil over the dark floor. We build our empires of steel, convinced they will echo into eternity across the ages. But the earth does not remember our names. It only digests what we leave behind. Every rivet, every beam, every monument is a temporary rebellion against total geological inevitability. The greatest ship in the world has been erased by microscopic jaws and crushing pressure. Reduced to scattered atoms of iron drifting endlessly in the dark, cold currents of time. There is a profound beauty in this destruction, a perfect, symmetrical return to elemental dust. It humbles our industrial arrogance and reminds us of our true, fragile place in nature. The sun rises on a new day. The surface remains unbothered by the deep below. And yet, we continue to launch our mechanical titans into the vast, unforgiving blue wilderness. We trust our engineering against the very forces that effortlessly devoured our past, triumphs entirely. How long until the bacteria and the pressure lay claim to our modern steel leviathans? The earth is patient, the abyss is waiting, and the microscopic swarms are always hungry. When our grandest monuments finally sink beneath the waves or fall into the dust of time, will the earth even notice that we were ever here at all?